Yeah, so, moving on.
No, I don't mean you.
Yeah, well, I am. So I just want to,
that before.
yeah, I showed this deja vu. Is that what you were saying?
You showed it too.
Did you show this?
A
This is
little
slightly
bit different, slightly different.
Yeah, I decided to put it up here because it does have a little bit more in it. And as I promised in the plenary, I just want to highlight some more of this. First is C4ISR. Did you explain that?
No, but I think it's worthwhile
Anyone know
spelling
what
it out.
C4ISR stands for?
If you can get all the acronyms, you get a
It's a star.
prize.
We're going for C5, so C4. Command,
Go for
control, communications, and
Computers.
SNR.
oh wow, surveillance reconnaissance. I was looking for another C, and I'm like, wait a second, it's only 3 C's. So, oh no, 4 C's. So yeah, that's surveillance reconnaissance.
Yeah,
Command, control, communication. What's the
Computers.
fourth C?
Fourth.
information surveillance and reconnaissance.
No, but we only have 3 C's.
Computers.
We're missing a C.
Coordination.
Computers. It's considered one of them. Command, control, computers,
Oh, yeah,
communications. Until,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the C, that's C5 max.
Right. Yeah, okay, so, I mean, another way to describe this is, it's like, what is full spectrum dominance? And what are we trying to have dominance over? And of course, the introduction recently, well, air, air, what did you say?
The planet.
Well, no, well, there's more. Space,
more than
space,
Sea.
cyberspace. I mean, where do you end? Anyway, air, land, sea, that would be the planet, space, and now cyberspace. And I'm going to show a clip from a little video which shows the emergent set of departments in the Department of Defense and cybersecurity, which are viewing cyber defense, as this viable theater of war, but that is integrated. It's network human behavior. Actually, in a moment, I'm going to cross out the word human based on another report that sort of contradicts this network-centric operation. So in a way, this is already obsolete. This was developed in connection largely with future combat systems, which has sort of been dissolved. And while some people breathed a heavy sigh of relief that $54 billion of spending was no longer going into this elaborate science fiction stuff, well, it actually has expanded tenfold when you factor in the budgets for Homeland Security, NSA, State Department, and the emerging cybersecurity. It's incredible. But nevertheless, organizational networks with joint coalition interdependency. Again, another important concept of this, which actually I'm going to go back and forth between these two slides because it's easier to see. So in traditional warfare, you have command central and these little pieces here that are directing, do this, do this, do this. In network-centric distributed platforms, you have these different things, and then you have within this, I don't know if you can see, it's like different cells. A lot of the coordination takes place in a visual space, in a virtual space. And I may as well make this point here. When you're studying this stuff, you have, I forgot to capture the screenshot, but you have this elaborate mapping, visual mapping, which in large measure was developed at Carnegie Military University, that allows you to deploy all these resources, whatever they are, UAVs or robotic sensors. Well, this is meant to illustrate a lot of the robotic systems, but troops on the ground. If you recall that opening clip that I showed from the Future Combat Systems or video, that when they went into Iraq, they brought all this technology, every single piece, and the tanks and the humans and the satellites were all these interchangeable parts. So,
But then they wound up with a total mess. I mean, that's the thing that we have to show. I mean, like this,
excuse me.
it's like some kind of an arrogant stupidity, like they think this is so brilliant how they were able to coordinate and do everything they were supposed to do, and they wound up with a total wreck.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to argue that it's more than just that. It's hubris that has led to this dystopic state of perpetual war and automation. But, maybe I'm going to just quickly start moving ahead with this. Again, here are like some of the components. And again, look at the warfighter, who's now this beefed up, super, I mean, you saw them in that video, you see them every day. It's kind of normalized. Oh yeah, it's, a warfighter. But again, they're just pieces of this larger network-centric puzzle. So, Carnegie Mellon University, as I mentioned, they've been one of the leaders in the robotic warfare, in particular this facility, the National Robotics Engineering Center, and as I mentioned, I was part of an action to sort of shut it down for a day. You know, and what goes on there is a mix of striking innovation, rigorous engineering, and exhaustive testing. Well, all right, let's do what this really means, and the point I want to bring out of this is the kind of collapse of science and technology. You know, in the 19th century, I mean, we often think of them as separate, but in the 19th century, the emergence of big science and big physics took away that idea of the individual scientist as Newton, and has made it so that, you know, we're a part of this team of technologists and scientists who are working together to produce something. Like the Manhattan Project, again, is the quintessential example, you know, of bringing together all these people who are working in different parts and not necessarily